Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this open office hours for the Chaos election. My name is Emma Irwin, and together with Elizabeth Barron and Ali, I'm not sure how to say Ali's last name. We are the election officials, and basically, what we're your friends in this process of building and making successful the first Chaos community elections. Yay, our first community-driven elections, and we can get into a bit more about what that means in the Q&A if you're interested. We only have kind of one person here today, so we're recording this. I'll also say that we have the channel for elections, and you can also ping any of us directly, and all of this is also in the documentation. So, and we will share the slides also. So, yeah, so this is an open office hours. We may have more. There was a question already. We may have more. If that is something that you want, then you should respond to any of the threads that you see this video in or on the election help channel and maybe give us some windows around what would be useful hours for you to kind of connect with us. But we really want to make it successful and accessible for folks who want to come and ask questions. And we hope that everyone is considering either running and is definitely going to vote because your participation really matters. Yeah, so I mentioned everything on this slide. I'm going to go to the next slide here. So just again, emphasizing this is a community election. CHAOSS is a community, and this is an opportunity to kind of have the community shape the future of CHAOSS. It's a really pivotal moment for CHAOSS to think about its future. It's a pivotal moment in technology. Like, it's a really kind of cool time to get involved to step into leadership. And a couple of things on that. We'll get more into nomination, I think, in the next slide. But also, if you've contributed, you have a voice in the next election. So you are able to vote if you've contributed to CHAOSS in the last 12 months. And that is something that we've done our best due diligence to identify those folks who voted in the last year through GitHub activities like commenting pull requests, but also through the self-attestation process, which you should have seen in the general channel over the last few months. But if that's not familiar to you, it's also in the documentation that we'll share after this. So essentially, if you're not able to vote at the link, then either reach out to us or proactively, even better, do the self-attestation so that you will turn up. So yeah, if you contributed, you can vote. And yeah, so we've talked a little bit about voting here, but also we really, really want to encourage people to run for the board. And this can be kind of a mental barrier for folks to think about, well, I've not really been a part of chaos long enough, or I'm not really a leader, and all these kind of things that might be stopping people from thinking about running. But we really encourage you to think beyond any sort of self-doubt you're having and think about, like, is there something that you want to do and achieve and that you think chaos should be doing, then please run for the board, and we encourage you to. So and then yeah, I mentioned this voting that we should vote. And then the third thing is at the bottom here, encourage someone to vote or to nominate. I definitely encourage people to vote too. But so in our FAQ, we have a little template. If you're not sure what to say to somebody, there's a template in there where you can go and say, like, hey, so and so, I really think that you should consider running. And that can be all that it takes to get someone to step up, is that kind of validation from a peer. I know certainly that would make me feel more inclined than my own confidence. So definitely, like, you can't nominate someone else. They still need to nominate themselves, but you can definitely encourage other people. And we encourage you to encourage other people. See, that's how it works. And then again, you don't have to call yourself a leader to be one, kind of double clicking on this constantly, but this is inclusive leadership. We want folks to know that it's a trusted role, it's an important role, but it's not one that comes with, like, we don't need to see, specifically anyone's resume to say certain things. So lived experiences, all these types of things really bring a lot. So if you said any of these things, like, I wish the board would do this, or I wish chaos would go here, this is your moment. I really feel like I'm just pitching participation right now, but that is a big part of why we're holding these open office hours. And then I've said this again, if you contribute, you have a vote. I mentioned all of that. This is our timeline right now, what happens and when and I think this is up to date, let's really double check, but so this is the open office hours. We may have more if folks are interested. The nominations close, and we can, I'll probably get Elizabeth to maybe talk a bit about at the end of the Q&A, like how the actual nominations work again. If you're curious, it's all in the documentation. But those have to be in by May 11th. The voting opens May 13th. We have all like a whole user guide and everything for how to vote. Voter exceptions just basically means those folks that may have not been able to vote for some reason, we're going to look into the problem. And is that what we mean by exceptions, Elizabeth?
Yeah, or folks that are having trouble with the GitHub, trying to get their
Right.
contributions added, or just don't have like a GitHub account, like whatever that might be, because there
Mhm.
are a lot of other contributions that happen across the community. So we just wanted to give an outlet for those folks to make sure that they're
Yeah.
included.
Yeah. And it also, in our FAQ, we do cover why GitHub right now. It's not that we want to isolate what valuable contributions are based on GitHub. It's just the tool that we have right now. And certainly new board members could steer us in a different direction in the future. So this is where we are now, but not necessarily where we have to be for the future. Voting closes June 10th, and June 15th is when we plan to, all goes well, announce the results. Elizabeth, did you want to add anything to this timeline?
No, I think that sums it up. The reason we have a little bit of a break between May 11th and May 13th is just so we make sure that everything went through okay, because this is new for the community as well. So we just wanted to give ourselves a little bit of a buffer, to make sure if there were anything that didn't happen the way we planned it to happen, then we have a little bit of a buffer to address that before voting opens.
Yeah. And I don't have a slide on Electo, which is the voting platform we'll be using, but it is we're taking inspiration from the Native community, and Allie has worked with that before. Um, I don't know that I can do justice of what the playbook already says, but essentially it is anonymous. It's ranking. It's like it's a very trusted process and platform. Elizabeth, would you add anything there? I have links at the
Um,
end of it.
Yeah, I think it seems like a very good platform for keeping voting anonymous while also not allowing it to be gamed, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
you'll log in with your GitHub account, but it's not gonna like store who voted for who, if that makes sense. It just wants to make sure there's a barrier and some kind of like verification check. So we don't have, folks who are not in the community just kind of flooding with
Hmm.
random stuff or spammers or any of that stuff. It blocks all of that. So yeah, it seems like it's a really great way to do elections. I'm quite impressed, honestly.
Yeah. And I mean, we didn't want to make this too much of a presentation, so we're not really walking through that, but because there's just such great playbooks and guides, and here they are. I don't know if you can click on this from the preview, but I'll share this afterwards. There's the candidate guide, how to nominate, what the role involves, which is really important because as much as we're encouraging people to nominate themselves, it's really important to know what the role involves so that you feel like that's something you can achieve. We don't want more burnout in open source. This needs to feel like something that you have time for and can invest in. There's a whole thing here on the mechanics of the election, which is really helpful. I was also really impressed. Just a bunch more resources, including the FAQ, and then we have the blog that Elizabeth shared recently. If you want to share with others, people are very busy, so I guess we would also encourage for chaotics that are not, looking at Slack or checking the blog to do that shoulder tap to make sure that people know this is happening. So those are the links. And then, yeah, this is really an open office hour, so I really didn't want to talk too much, but I wouldn't, Elizabeth, is there anything else you'd add
I
that
was
I
just
didn't
going to
cover here?
say, the only thing I would add is that to your point, because this is a first time of the community doing this. I think awareness is probably the biggest challenge that we have.
Mhm.
Like from now on, people will know, oh, okay, this is time for the elections. I'm ready. But for now,
Yeah.
it's kind of just like trying to drive the point home to people that, hey, this is a thing you can do, and you please do it. Like please, engage and participate because your voice is important and yeah, but to your point, people are busy. So, yeah, that's kind of why I would rather see us as a community just kind of over promote if we can. I mean, by the end, everybody's going to be sick of it, but I think that's the only way to really make sure that, yes, we keep driving this point home that it's happening and don't forget. And yes, especially towards the end, I think there'll be a little more of a push because it's like your last chance, but here at the beginning and then at the end, yeah, probably. So,
Yeah.
so we really do rely on the community to help us spread the word because the three of us are only three people. So, yeah.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to hear when the announcements are like, what? There was an election? Like, we just do not want to hear that.
Yeah, that would be awful. I would be very sad about that for sure.
Questions?
Yes, I think I have a question now, and that's following up on what you've just said. I kind of like sense low enthusiasm in the community. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yes, so enthusiasm and then an awareness. So just imagine it's just three of us. Imagine I didn't come in today. It would just be
Yeah.
you and then Hema. So I am wondering, so how do we get people
Mhm.
to be aware and even be enthusiastic about voting? So the previous ones I've seen other communities do is that candidates usually go on LinkedIn, social media platform to campaign and say, "Hey, I'm running for, I'm running for the board. Come on, elect me and vote for me and all that." But I'm grateful that we don't have to do that at Chaos. But the question that I have is it possible for the candidates to talk about this in their little groups, maybe the working groups they are participants of, or their focus groups and all? So,
I'll just jump in here real quick with I think that that is a very good question. We have not really talked about that in the election officers meetings. I have two thoughts on that. I think that one, we could encourage working group leaders to carve out space for that in the
okay.
meetings just to make sure that like that's that is something that you're able to do. I'm also wondering if it would make sense to have like a dedicated like a place for candidates to like show up and answer questions or talk to folks. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what that would look like if that would be like a special meeting of like a I don't know, is that weird to have like a just a meeting on the calendar and like okay, candidates are going to show up and they're ready to answer your questions from their point of view, like what their vision is for the community or how they approach things. That might be something helpful. And then actually I have the third thing, which is we could also, if we wanted, like I don't want the barrier to be too high for folks, but also, maybe a recorded video or something if candidates want to do that. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I think I said at least maybe it was before the recording that we want to improve this process for next year too. So these are the types of questions that are good. I mean, I think that would be cool to have an all candidates video if we could find a time that worked for everyone. It depends how many people there are, or we can do a writ. I think that OSI has done like a written thing before where everyone is like asked a couple questions. Maybe those, I don't know if we have time. It depends. We're brainstorming here, of course.
Yeah.
But that way it's not having to turn up, but that there's a question that everyone can read when it works for them. And then on the sharing, I think it'd be great if working group, maybe we could post that in the working group leaders. I also think of chaos as like a community of communities. Like a lot of people come here because they were part of a, Drupal or in OSPO, like, or they came here because they're interested in the metrics and they participated, but they might not be watching it all the time. And I don't know, Elizabeth, I mean, what that outreach might look like to folks that are just not paying attention and won't be on LinkedIn and might be in the Slack. I don't know what the answer is. Can we spam people one time or?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because to your point, we have a lot of folks who are maybe seasonal in their participation, or
Yeah.
they come and go as they have the capacity to join. Yeah, to your point, especially folks who are kind of have obligations elsewhere in other communities and jobs, home, family. So that's yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that. I know that from the Chaos community account, we plan to post several messages on LinkedIn, reminding folks out there. That seems to be where most of the community is, as opposed to like Mastodon or X or things. But yeah, I'm wondering what we can do as far as bringing visibility for the candidates as well. I don't know.
I see Adrian's comment there. Adrian,
I think, yeah, Adrian, yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying welcome.
Oh, Adrian, we can't hear you if you're talking.
Or Adrian might be multitasking.
He's good at that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Oh, yeah, got it.
just gonna use chat. Yeah, we definitely could use an announcements. If we do decide to create an announcements channel.
Oh, we don't have one.
No, we don't.
That's kind of what general is, or
That's kind of what general is, and also I kind of spam every channel. A lot of not every single one, but a lot of them with the same messages if it's something that's community wide.
can you add the general channel? I don't know if we can add in the Slack. No, but you might be able to as an admin or something.
Yeah, we can create one for sure. I think the question is how do we get people in it?
Oh, no, I meant at, like in the general
Oh,
channel,
oh,
can you at
oh,
all. Like I know it seems to be disabled in our Slack because I've tried to all in our working group where you like, or channel. Sorry,
yeah.
that's a Teams reference all, I think, but our channel or something.
Yeah, there's an at channel. There's also an at here, which is like just pings everybody that's active currently.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's good too. Yeah, we've not really used the at channel only because there's like 3,500 people in there.
Yeah.
So
But this
like
might be the one
personally,
time. This might be
we
the
right,
one
yeah.
time, right? Because
Yeah.
people sometimes this is something they might want to know,
Yeah.
but I don't
Yeah.
want to be presumptive.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
so that's
definitely
a
not
good.
something we've abused. So at
Nope.
least there's that. There's at least that. We've never used it. So it's like, hey, this is important.
Yeah. Any other? So I'll kind of leave that. That's your domain, Elizabeth. I think to share like what's appropriate, like sharing thing, I guess, or we can talk about it too. Is
Yeah.
there any other questions? And we could also create a, I was just thinking as far as for not candidates to, so we've talked about having a question maybe that's in a written format that anyone can read, or an all candidates kind of video call. Maybe there's also a template that we can put in our elections folder that's something you can use for LinkedIn or whatever. I'm running for this, or like maybe we could do that, if that's helpful too.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm wondering too, to your question about, or to the idea about asking questions, like a common question for each candidate. I wonder if that's something we maybe, I don't know this year, but next year we could add to like the file that they upload of like, okay, tell us about yourself now. Here are like two questions or three questions or whatever. What would your approach be for these three things? So that when people are voting, they have that all that information would show up, right? Kind of where they stand on things. Is that right? If I remember from the test election.
I
Oh,
think so.
sorry.
Yeah. But I remember as an OSI voter, I didn't really pay attention to anything except those answers that were written. So that, not that what works for me works for everyone, but it certainly is like low access for readers.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely something to think about.
And your feedback's noted there, Adrian. Thank you. Any other questions or concerns or suggestions is great. No. So maybe what we can do then is in the thread that I shared this in general, I will share this slide and recording and then just remind people to go to elections help for questions. Yeah, cool.
I'm curious to the two folks that are here asking questions. I'm just curious to hear, and you don't have to share this if you don't want, but I'm just curious to hear your experience or your anticipation, I guess, of the nomination process, like filling out that one page markdown file, submitting it. Like, how does that seem? I guess my question really is, does that seem intimidating to you? Does that seem like doable? Does it seem weird? Like, what? I just wanted to get your perception of that.
Is that the file that talks about one paragraph about yourself and another
Yeah.
paragraph about why you were running? I think it's good. One paragraph is a lot because it's little rather, and that means that I have to condense everything I have been doing to one paragraph. So I have to be very focused with what I put out there. So I think
Yeah,
that's good. That's good. Um, so far, I think I'm okay with the process, but it's just that I've not had the opportunity to vote, so I'm just going straight to nominating myself. So I don't know how the process will run. This is the first time for me, so I'm just trying to see how it goes.
Yeah,
I
there's a lot of
had I
unknown.
had So I had one person express to me that, oh, I don't know how this is going to run. So I'm a little bit scared because I have not
mm,
had an opportunity to witness an election before. So it's kind of like scary a bit because we really don't know the process. But then we just go for it and see how it goes.
yeah, I could
I'm
see
wondering
that.
if so we had the three of us, the three election officers, had a test election out there, so we could kind of make sure that we understood the process and could visualize it. I'm wondering if we should
Mm.
put that back. I saw Ali deleted it just to not have confusion, but I'm wondering if we should put that back so people can like do a pretend election or a mock election so they can kind of visualize and experience the whole
I
thing. Would
love
that be
that.
helpful?
I'm not sure I saw that, the visual.
Yeah, we were
Oh.
just using it for the three of us to make sure, like, see how the data would populate the election and like what the screens look like and things. But Ali removed that from our repo so that it didn't get confusing for others of like, what is this thing?
Oh, so
But
do you mean
maybe,
like a demo?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that would be nice, honestly, for people to
Okay.
even have like a feel of
Yeah.
how it's going to look like a walkthrough. That
Yeah.
would be nice.
Yeah, I think the guides have screenshots, but that's not actually the same as being able to, poke around and like
Yeah.
have that experience of clicking and voting and seeing what that looks like. And yeah,
The
totally.
learn by doing is how a lot of us learn, really. That's an open source thing. Hello world in the voting
Yeah,
aspect. Yeah.
yeah. I think that's something we could pretty easily do. We could even just revert
Okay.
revert Ali's commit where he took it out. So we could probably revert and put it back in. If not, we could create one, with just some like pretend candidates, just fake, so you could see from a voting perspective what that looks like,
Okay.
and also from a candidate perspective of how your information will be shown to voters.
That would be really nice, honestly. Very
Yeah.
helpful.
Okay, that's we can do that.
Hmm.
Do either of you have questions on like how the rankings are calculated or like how that works?
So for me, not really. My only concern is even getting people to be aware and enthusiastic about what is going on. I trust the process, that it's transparent, it's clear, it's simple. The officers have put in a lot of work to this, so it's not a concern for me at all. I think my own is just that community members might not really be enthusiastic about what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard, again, that first time, people aren't sure what to expect. They don't know if, yeah, they don't know what's happening or if is even happening. So yeah, that's kind of a challenge this first time. I feel like next year that won't be quite such a barrier or an obstacle challenge, however you want to say it. But yeah. I think too, like once people start to kind of nominate themselves, then it's like, oh, this is actually real now. Like it's still a little bit ethereal now. It's all very,
It's hard to go first too. I almost feel like maybe we should have a placeholder, or maybe we have a placeholder voter. We could remove them later. I don't know. We're brainstorming again just to see what it looks like. Are you fine with going first? Amazing. Thank you.
I think you could add links. I think, don't you think, Emma? That would be fine to put link to posts you've,
Yeah, I think
For
that would be
me.
really helpful for people. They'll be looking for stuff
yeah.
like that. Yeah, can encourage that too. We can update that. I'll make a note to update that in the docs.
So,
I feel like
maybe a
we're learning more
question
than
here.
teaching in this call. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's okay. So, a question here: will there be a penalty if you exceed a paragraph?
I don't know about a penalty. I don't know if I mean I assume it would parse correctly. That would be my only thing is it might mess up. It might not display properly. I don't know though. Like I don't know how that information is like technically pulled in from the markdown file. But
Yeah.
like as far as, no, you're not going to get kicked out from our side. You're gonna say, oh, nope, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, just like Adrian, I'm working on my content too, and I didn't have to like cut a lot of things off to make it fit into the one paragraph. Okay, bullet list, Adrian.
Perfect. This is great.
Yeah, maybe we can, for our demo, we can have the quote unquote candidates have different things in their files, like the bulleted list, like a multi-paragraph, like something else, links, whatever, so that everybody can see what that's going to look like and the best way then to display your information, if that makes sense. Like you might look at a like when it goes to Electo to actually see the page so that if you're like, oh yeah, I really like how those bullet points come across, that's what I want to do in mine. Or if you're
Hmm.
more of like, oh, I appreciate the long form storytelling, like that's better for me, that makes sense for me. But it is kind of hard to know what that's going to look like without seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that got me thinking. Should we go with word count?
what counts as a paragraph? Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
That's
we did not get that far in
no.
the process. We did
I
not
mean, who
get that
really cares
granular.
if it's a paragraph or three? I mean,
I mean, just to reduce the confusion, to say,
yeah.
okay, I just have this limit and I'm going to stay within this limit. Because then the confusion is what counts as a paragraph. So,
Or maybe it's a word count instead. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. That would be
That's how most things
interesting.
work, yeah. Or like a
Yeah.
lot of application type things try and I think it's more just it encourages people to be concise rather than like think about how many lines something is.
Yeah, I mean, you all know how people tend to be. They don't tend to read a big wall of text, so that might just be something to consider. You can tell them everything, but they might not read that. So, yeah. So it looks like the election officers have a to-do, which is actually two to-dos, two to-dos. One is to set up a demo election so everybody can visualize and click around. And I don't know how to do that, but we'll figure it out. The second one is to figure out what method would be good to allow candidates to engage with the community directly. So whether that's an AMA, an Ask Me Anything thing that Adrian mentioned, whether it's a recorded video, whether it's a standard interview set of questions written. I don't know what that looks like yet, but that will be on, I think, the election officers to at least set something up. And we'll try it this year and see how that works. Is that what everybody else is thinking? Those are kind of our two things to work on. Do you all have any other questions about, oh, Adrian says, how urgently should I try and set up the announcement channel? I don't think it's super urgent. People know to expect things in general now. So if we are posting in general, I think that's not going to be out of scope of what people are used to. So
Yeah.
I think it's fine how it is. But if we get it set up, that's cool. We may even also want to double post for a bit, just so people understand, oh, this was also in the announcement chat. Maybe not. Maybe that's too confusing. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know however that works.
Great. I mean, that's a lot of takeaways for us. Well, thanks so much for coming, and helping us think about how to get more folks participating and visible and involved and being the first to go also. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's all that we had, and Elizabeth and I and Allie will connect again around some of this.
yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for all the work you have put into this. I think it's going to be an exciting ride.
Yeah, no,
I
I
think
think it's super
so.
exciting. Yeah. And then, I think next year especially will be like people know and have that experience. I think that was something you were saying, like we're building the experience now. Next year will be more familiar. And so it's exciting in that way. So
Yeah.
thanks
We
for
won't
being
have to
here.
try so hard to let people know. They'll expect, like, oh yeah, this is a thing that's coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, we'll leave it with that, and I will share this in the thread that I already have going and connect with you and Allie later. Elizabeth.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Take care,
Thank you
everyone.
all. See
Yeah.
everybody.